Hey there, and welcome to another 365 days of audio video specifically for men. My name is Elise Michaels, men's mental health coach, and today we are going to be talking about what happens when you're watching too much porn and it's impacting your intimacy. So I actually want to go over a few things. I want to go over why men are kind of attracted to porn in the first place, what to do about it if you're watching too much, and how you can start to make changes so that it stops impacting your intimacy and impeding on your life. So starting with why men, I feel, are attracted to porn in the first place is because growing up, we live in a society where sex or intimacy is kind of hush-hush. A lot of us grew up in religious environments where it's taboo to talk about it. And so when you don't have mentors or anyone around you to explain the curiosity or natural biology of what you're feeling and going through, especially through puberty, you look to the sources where it's readily available. And for many of us, the sources that are readily available are things like porn videos or magazines or Reddit forums. So when you're growing up and you don't have anyone to talk to, you go to these sites, and then that is the first attachment you make to intimacy. Now, intimacy, a lot of people don't understand, is a lot more than just sex or sexual pleasure. It's having deep conversations, it's hand-holding, it's knowing someone on a deeper level. But since men also get a double-edged sword with this, because not only do they not often get mentorship when it comes to talking about sex as an intimate action, but they also are rejected when it comes to feeling deep emotions. So they are now rejecting a huge role of what intimacy can actually be, and their only attachment is porn. So they're getting all of their information from this industry that makes money off of entertainment. If that's the only information you have, you're getting a lot of unrealistic expectations about how to perform in the bedroom, what you should look like, what other people should look like, what actually goes on, what people want and expect. And since men are not encouraged to talk about their emotions or feelings, they tend to just latch onto those ideas as this is what I should do, instead of being encouraged to communicate to their partner in the bedroom. This is also a double-edged sword because many women are shamed into not talking about sex or their desires either. So it leads to this very confusing, awkward, shameful experience sometimes in the bedroom when people don't say what they want. So if you're a man who's grown up and your only idea of what intimacy is sex, and now you're attached to porn, and then you start to use porn as a way to self-pleasure, but you're detached from the experience of self-pleasure because you're lost in the fantasy. Porn is something where we watch it, we are detached from ourselves. Self-pleasure is an act of being in our bodies, while masturbation while watching something else or doing something else is a form of detaching from our body to escape from a situation or to have immediate gratification. When we're watching porn, it gives us this dopamine rush of having an experience that's not our own, and it takes us away from intimate pleasure that could be in real life with another person. So this really impacts intimacy if you have an in real life partner, because you don't know how to be present in your body. So that's the first tip I'm going to give you, is practice being more present in your body. If you want to masturbate, I personally don't think that there's anything wrong with it. I actually don't even have anything against porn, but I think that what has happened is we've been conditioned to not understand the differences between reality and fantasy, and we have too many attachments to thinking that those are real life expectations when a real life environment is completely different. So if you're healthy and can detach from those things, just like alcohol or drugs or whatever, then I say do what works for you. But if you're someone who watches these things too much, you might get a little confused. So if you want to self-pleasure or practice self-pleasuring, make it an experience about you and being in your body. This might be really awkward for some men if you're not used to it, to appreciate yourself, to be present in yourself. You might start to notice a lot of self-shame come up, judgments that you have about yourself, questions about your size or your performance. Those are actually the thoughts that you're running away from when you watch porn or when you drift off into a fantasy world. I know it might suck to think about those things, but they're really great opportunities for you to improve your self-confidence, your self-esteem, because chances are your partner's not even thinking about any of that. Or if they are, you guys can now have a deep discussion and communicate where you can develop true, real intimacy with each other because you're actually connecting. When we have a lot of shame inside of us, when we have a lot of judgment inside of us, and we're not communicating that with our partner, we actually rob ourselves of the ability to connect. They are going to have insecurities too. They are going to have judgments about themselves too. So when you become a little bit vulnerable and talk about the issues that you have, you actually give them permission to be vulnerable themselves. And what this does is it creates depth in the relationship. And what happens to a lot of men when they avoid this intimacy and this vulnerability is they try to have width with many women instead of depth with one woman. And the depth with one woman is where you're going to get the sex that is out of this world. It's where you're going to get the most amazing experience, the best feeling experience, because you actually feel present in your body. You're actually paying attention to your partner. You're asking questions. You're listening to what they say, and you're curating something that's unique to you and not something that's fictional or in a fantasy land. And the last tip I'll give you to become more intimate with your partner if you've been watching too much porn is to understand that, okay, you maybe are watching porn and masturbating because you have a higher sex drive than your partner. And that's actually okay, but it can feel very lonely and very separate and maybe even shameful if you feel like you have to masturbate often and you can't include them, or maybe they feel excluded if they're not as horny as much as you. So one tip that I would give, and this is actually something my friend Zach Watson has said, is invite your partner to join you in this experience. Maybe just to watch, maybe to tag along. And it might even turn out that they become turned on by being part of this experience. And by no means do they have to be part of your experience, but simply inviting them and asking them so that you don't feel shame in hiding it, so that you can have an experience where both of you are kind of participating, even if just the presence of them there. Plus, if they say that they're interested, then you have a source of intimacy with them that's not in the porn world. So those are 2 tips that I would give for if you feel like you're watching too much porn and how to create more intimacy in your relationship with that. That's it for today's 365 days of audio video. Let me know if it helped in the comment section below, what tips you might have if you've struggled with this, and I'll see you in the next one.